Well, we'll get started. I'll call this meeting of the Bloomington Commission on Sustainability to order at 6 p.m. And we'll go through the roll call. Tara Dunderdale.
Here.
Here. Justin Vassell. I'm here. Matt Austin.
Present.
Present. Zero Rose. Not present. Zach, is it Ammerman or Ammerman?
Ammerman.
Ammerman.
I'm here.
Perfect. Here. Councilmember Rallo.
I'm here.
Here. Quentin Gilly. Not here. Ross Carlson.
Here.
Here. Alex York. Not here. Jamie Scholl.
Here.
Here. Annalise Jenke. Not here. Diana Ogrodowski. Not here. And Shenghuai Xu.
Here.
Here. All right. We have 8 people, and they're all in person, so we have a quorum. Okay, we will move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
The motion to approve.
All right, and then a second?
Correction.
A correction to the
Or
agenda?
not the agenda, sorry,
The
the
minutes?
meeting minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got Alex and Quentin joining us. All right, so we have a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Okay, is there any changes to be made to the agenda? All right. Since we have everybody in person, we can do this by a voice vote. So all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, the agenda is approved. That brings us to the approval of the minutes from November 18th, 2025. I can share my screen here to pull those up since we'll have a suggested change. There we go. Okay. There we have it. So are there any suggested corrections to the minutes?
Further down throughout the body, my name is misspelled.
Oh.
It has an E rather than an I
Okay.
only.
Okay, yeah, so we can go through and
I'll correct that.
correct
Sorry.
all those instances. Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other corrections?
So there was a misspelling somewhere. There was a couple of words put together. I don't remember exactly where. The gist of everything still flows fine.
Okay. I think any purely grammatical
Yep.
things can probably get
We can correct.
touched up. I guess the only one I have is here in number 3 with these placeholders here. So I think that just needs to be
I'll fix
replaced with
that, yeah.
approve the agenda.
Is it the 18th? Or the 11th? I forget which. If that was the one we had to shift.
The
But that one was the 4th.
the date of the
Yeah.
meeting? It was November 18th.
November 18th. Okay.
Yep.
I knew it shifted. I just wasn't sure
Yeah.
which direction.
All right. Any other corrections to the minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as they would be corrected, given the changes we just went through?
Motion.
Okay. Is there a
Second.
second? Okay, perfect. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions?
I will abstain since I wasn't part of the commission.
Okay, fair enough. One abstention. All right, the minutes are approved as amended, I guess, as corrected, I'll say. Okay, so that brings us to public comment. So we've got about 10 minutes set aside for this, up to 3 minutes per person. Is there any member of the public, either here in the room or on Zoom, that would like to comment? We'll maybe start here in the room. I'm not seeing any motion here. Is there anyone else online? I don't think so. Nope, I think it's just us. All right, moving right along. That brings us to reports from commissioners. So we'll start with the chair report. All right. Let's see if that's okay. Mostly legible. Okay, try to keep this a little more condensed this time into fewer slides. So this is the organization chart. Looks a little different than the last time you've seen it. First, I want to point out the yellow items on the list there. So those are folks who have their terms ending as of January 31st, 2026. So if your name is in yellow there and you're still interested in serving on the commission for another term, then if you haven't done so already, you should go to the onboard site or our commission's webpage and click the apply button and fill out the form there. I've got a link in the slides here that'll send you there. Does anyone have any questions about that process for reappointment? Okay. Yeah, we've had a couple of other changes on the org chart here. So for farewells, we have Evan Nix, who is with us since August 2024 until last month. And so just want to express my thanks to him for his time serving on the commission. He did a lot of work getting the Cobb bench proposal put together and getting the ball rolling on that project. And that took a lot of vision and a lot of work to get done. And so definitely appreciate his contributions to the commission while he was here. And then we have two new commissioners with us today, Zach Ammerman and Ross Carlson. And usually when we have new folks, we just ask them to kind of introduce themselves, maybe say something about their interest in sustainability and any other relevant information you wanna provide. So maybe we'll start with you, Zach.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Zach Ammerman. I actually just recently moved back to Bloomington after 10 years away in DC. I am very interested in sustainable transportation in particular, but not only, a lot of other issues as well, wildlife protection, biodiversity protection, and things like that. I'm a graphic designer. I don't know if that's what people normally say during this, but I'm a graphic designer. I specialize in maps, cartography, and data visualization. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I think that pretty much settles it, I guess. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, Ross.
Ross Carlson, I'm the appointee from the Monroe County. I work with the Monroe County Stormwater. I have a background with the state, local, and county now levels of government doing water management, water characterization. So that's my main kind of focus as it relates to sustainability, but also have a lot of background in like organic gardening and food security. So I'd like to bring some of that knowledge as well.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the commission. We're very glad to have you. And yeah, if you have questions as you start to learn the ropes and stuff, don't hesitate to send me an email or Sean and Jolie as well. The nice thing is we'll be going through our sort of annual priority setting process here soon, so that'll be it's a good time to get plugged in. Okay, any questions about the org chart stuff before we move on to general updates? Okay, first thing is just the meeting schedule for 2026. So I've put all the regular meetings, second Tuesday of the month on here in bold. I did a quick check to make sure there were no holidays or things like that might interfere with them, but if anyone knows of something, let me know. I've also put tentative work sessions on here, so we don't do every single work session every month. It kind of depends, but if we were to do that, this is probably what the schedule would look like with maybe some minor changes. So just to kind of give everyone a heads up and put it on your calendars.
Can I?
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's the city's BCOS website has a calendar that you can subscribe to, so that when the meeting gets noticed, it'll show up on your calendar, or it'll show up on a calendar.
Yeah, it's like a Google Calendar kind of thing, right? Yeah, so that's a good point.
And then similarly, like if we have a work session, those have to also be noticed. So basically any time, as soon as Justin puts the notice in for anything where there's a risk of a quorum, that'll then automatically show up on your calendar. It's very handy.
Yeah, nice. I should probably do that too, because I do it by hand, and it hasn't failed yet, but someday. Yeah, no, thank you. That's helpful. And at the end of this report slide deck, I have some useful hyperlinks and stuff like that, and one of them will send you to the commission website where you can find that. Okay, so I tried to take all the news and updates from within the commission and beyond and slammed it all into one single slide instead of doing it over several. So we'll see how this goes. If you hate the format, let me know. But I've sort of split it up into a couple different buckets here. So just ongoing recent stuff within the commission here. So BCOS Resolution 2025-04 is the one that we adopted at our last meeting. This is the proposing the name change. We transmitted this to Council President Stossberg, I think on November 25th. I think I meant to put that in the, did I put that in the packet? Well, it says C packet there, and if it's not in there, I will put it in. But it is on onboard. We're kind of following the thread on that. The suggestion so far has been that the formal ordinance will need to be prepared by staff or somebody from council. We provided sort of the draft or template version or something like that, but the suggestion so far was that could go to the Committee on Council Processes, who I think is going to be overseeing a Title II overhaul later this year anyway, so this might be a good opportunity to bundle this in with other changes that are being made to that part of the municipal code. So we'll continue to track that as it goes, and when there's updates, I'll bring it back to everybody. The other resolution that we might want to follow along with that we passed earlier this year is 2025-01, which is the poultry flock sizing resolution. So if this is something that we do want to actually see, go into ordinance at some point, we'll probably want to just follow up on that and figure out what we need to do to transform that idea into ordinance, on the back end and try to push it forward. Yeah.
Comment on that. That may need to be like the name change also, because it has to do with lot sizes. I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, when I talked to Council President Stossberg, she mentioned that at that time.
Okay.
So that will be something we'll need to think about in that way.
Writing some draft ordinance language for
I
them.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. We could certainly do that, because I know there's some language in the UDO that I think would need to be changed, and then there's another Title VII or something that has also some information there. So I think it's two places. Okay, good. Bloomington Energy Works is something that Sean had just announced via email recently. So this is something that we had agreed to support if we got selected. This is that project, right? Sean had a lot of details in the email, and there's the website there. These are hyperlinks, so you can click that and go to the website and read more. But really, it's a program that, for owners of large commercial nonprofits or of academic buildings, they can get free energy audits, if there's enough interest, then access to low cost capital for any upgrades. So there's a
To add to that,
yeah.
sorry, another portion of that project is an education program for residents.
Right,
So
that's
they'll
Energy
be
Navigators.
doing- Yes, so they'll be doing a door-to-door campaign and giving group presentations, so it's for the whole community.
Yeah, absolutely. So please share with your networks far and wide. Try to get the word out. Do we have to meet a certain threshold by a certain date to move forward in the program, or is it?
We have. I'll talk more about this during my
Okay.
camp implementation. I'll go through the website a little bit. and-
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Anyway, there is a kickoff webinar tomorrow, so if you're interested in learning more, there's an RSVP link, and I'm planning to check it out. Okay, the local food resilience strategy that Jamie's been championing this year, just no new updates on that since the last time we met, but just to say that this is something we'll probably keep working through and refining, as we move into 2026. Sustainable neighborhood grant project reports. So we don't have new sustainable neighborhood grants coming our way anymore, but we still approved a couple right at the end of 2024, to be implemented throughout this year. And so the Grandview Hills Pollinator Gardens, they've completed their work and they've got a report ready. And I think it would be good to have somebody, if they're willing, come in and give a presentation to us maybe next month. And then TerraCycle 2.0 should be wrapping up sometime soon, because I think we approved that last December. So if they're all finished with that and have a report ready to go, then maybe the following month in February we can have them.
Do you want do I reach out to the, I mean, like, I can reach out to the Grandview Hills folks, or is that gonna come from ESD to get them on the agenda? Does that matter?
I think either of us could
Okay.
reach out to them, yeah. If you already know
I
them.
mean, yes.
Yeah.
I can walk to her house.
Feel free to reach out, yeah. Good. Okay, sustainability assessment report. So this is something we haven't talked about in a little bit. I just wanted to mention it here. So the original idea that we had for the report, that the scope of that has kind of shifted as the ad hoc committee that we set up started working through it. That ad hoc committee, I think, consisted of you and
Two people that have since left the committee.
that's right, yeah, and Andrew and Evan, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a one-person ad hoc committee now. So it might make sense to just dissolve that committee since the scope has changed so much and the membership has changed, and then just the report that we're sort of eyeing now is maybe a little bit more of a meta report about what sort of data is out there and how do we actually go about assessing some of these things.
Yeah, maybe at like in an early work session or priority session, we can
Yeah.
redefine the scope or what we want to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, since I think we had a vote to form that, probably if we decide to go that route next month, we'll have a vote to formally dissolve it and see what comes next. Sustainability forums. We've had one so far, and it was a good success, I think. And so I understand more are on the way.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for more on that in 2026. And then I also wanted to note that the public library has had some hours changes, so they're only open until 7, I think, on Tuesday. Is that right?
Yeah, any day they were normally open till 9, they're now only open till 7.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So when we do work sessions, they're usually there at the library from the same time we meet now, Tuesdays 6:30 to 6 to 7:30. So we may need to find a new location for that, or potentially shift the times to better accommodate that. So.
Yeah, and you can't reserve a room more than like past 15 minutes prior to closing.
Oh
time.
yeah, that makes sense.
So it would
Okay.
be, yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't think that we don't have like cleanup, that they're
Mhm.
not necessarily gonna like throw us out of a room, but technically we would only be able to have the room
Yeah.
until 6:45.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So some upcoming things that are sort of on our list here. The priority planning process. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but it'd be good to do that next month in January sometime. We'll talk a little bit more about scheduling. We will have officer elections coming up, so that's every year in March. So nothing more on that right now, but I think maybe at the next meeting we'll talk a little bit about the format of that and get people reacquainted with the process as we get closer to that. BCOS Commissioner Handbook, I've mentioned this before, but it's been a little while. But every time we get a new member on the commission, I'm like, dang, I wish I would have finished that by now. So I'm really going to push myself to get a draft out in front of everybody in February, so we can try to get that locked down. And Environmental Commission has something similar, and they've done a really good job with that. So that's a kind of a nice template to follow. Another thing that's kind of been on the back burner for a little bit is bylaws reform. Probably another good thing to pull onto a front burner. So I'm thinking maybe first half of 2026. Again, we'll go through the planning process for next year, and maybe that'll kind of shift. This is just how I'm kind of thinking about it in my head now. Don't want to be too ambitious, but it's also good to be a little ambitious, I think. Okay, so resolution 2026-01, which is not an official thing that's been drafted or sent out yet. But we had talked about it a little bit at the last working session when we were talking about some of the efforts that the mayor's office and city council was doing to try to support local food banks in the face of the lapse in funding for SNAP benefits during the government shutdown. And so I know in some of the packet materials, city council had some good information. I think they presented some of that at one of their meetings. And then the city also I think donated $46,000, I think, to support that. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity, speaking about resilience and general community sustainability, to applaud some of those efforts, for thinking fast and helping people out when it mattered. So I'll put something together on that and then bring it for next meeting hopefully for a first reading, and then we can go through it more in February for a second reading. Sustainable energy utility feasibility study. So this is the capstone project that we sort of commissioned from students at the O'Neill School. So I think we're still targeting spring, this coming semester, spring 2026.
I mean, we're locked in.
Oh, we're locked in, yeah.
There's a course professors are teaching it. It has a time slot.
Perfect. Yeah.
If we back out now, it would look really bad.
Oh yeah, definitely not suggesting that. No. Yeah, just to keep it on folks' radar and let you know that that's moving forward. And,
Yeah. So I guess this will be the last meeting before that class actually starts. So if anybody has additional feedback about what good research questions would be, and new people have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. But yeah, feedback on what like good research questions or research angles, what things would be useful for the city to know. Any feedback is appreciated.
Very good. Okay, so looking outside of the commission around the city here, a couple things caught my eye. The first is a report that came out of the mayor's office called Homelessness Response and Housing Investment. So I've got a hyperlink there. I encourage folks to take a look at it. One of our priorities for 2025 was looking at housing issues, affordability and accessibility and that sort of thing. So I think this is a good opportunity to see where the mayor's thinking is on that, and maybe look for as we move forward in 2026 opportunities to to work collaboratively on some of those issues. And then I was just mentioning a minute ago, council had considered a letter that encouraged a sustained Bloomington food resilience effort. That was back on their November 5th meeting. I don't know if that wasn't like was that an individual council member kind of signs off on that, or I just saw it in the packet, so I don't know if it was like an official thing, but it was there in the packet, and it was expressing a desire for kind of a sustained effort at food resilience. So we've talked a lot about that. I think another good opportunity to look for opportunities to collaborate with council on some of these issues that we care about. And I've got a space here for things that we're tracking, things that I'm not tracking that well at right now, but aspire to, and maybe there's some other things we want to add to this list, so let me know. But a couple things come to mind right away. Number one is the budget process. So I think for 2026, it would be good to track this right from the beginning, kind of what the timelines are for this, and if we have inputs that we want to provide, being able to get ahead of that and get those in early will be important. So we'll keep an eye on that as the year progresses. I know tomorrow council has a deliberative session to discuss some of their outcome-based budgeting stuff and some basic priorities. But I think a lot of the process starts in maybe August or something like that, late summer, the real fast-moving stuff. 2026 UDO revision process. I don't really know what that process looks like, but we probably should, especially if we've got a resolution that would advocate making some amendments to the UDO. I think that's something we could have some better visibility on and understanding of, so something to keep track of. And then there's two major development projects sort of in the works right now. There's the Hopewell development and then the Summit District. So those are things we'll want to follow as they progress. So that was a lot, and going forward, and unless this is really not helpful, I'll plan to kind of keep this up and updated, just so everybody gets kind of a bird's eye view of the things that we kind of have going on, even if we're kind of waiting for them to progress. So any questions on that, or comments?
I can make a few comments.
Yeah, please.
On Hopewell, I don't think we've made any suggestions or comments to the administration or to council regarding any kind of talking about food resilience, that there may possibly be an opening for some kind of design discussion in regards to that. When jumping down to the Summit District. The Summit District, based upon Food Policy Council's report from some years ago when I was on that organization, it was placed in what at that time was considered a food desert. That wasn't addressed during the time when all of this was discussed by council, and therefore it was one of those things in regards to resilience that was not included in approval for the developer. So that was approved, and then I came onto this commission the following week. So there was nothing that I could do except for public comment at the time. So just kind of giving some background information on folks here and the new folks that may be interested in those items.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I was gonna say that we have a hard stop at 7:30.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, great. I'll move on to my last substantive slide from this deck. It is December. This is our last meeting of the year, so I wanted to do a quick sort of recap on some of the things that we've accomplished this year. And it's a pretty long list. That's great. So just want to thank everybody for a great year. I've listed out some of the successes that we've had here. And if I've missed anything, please let me know and I will update these slides. But we passed 4 resolutions, which is more than we did last year, which was 1 resolution. But that was more than we did the year before, which was 0. So we are on a good trajectory here. So we did the scalable poultry size model, advocating for increasing allocation for urban forestry in the 2026 city budget, recommending clear definitions for urban agriculture and associated business structures, and changing the name of our commission to Bloomington Commission on Sustainability and Resilience. So some of those we're still tracking through into 2026. But this has been a great success, so keep them coming, and looking forward to seeing what we do in 2026 on that front.
A little interjection. Thank you for your leadership and being able to get these things organized so that those items could be on there. I don't think myself or Tara, who were leading some of these, would have been able to do that without your leadership, so formal thank you for that.
That's a second that.
Well, I very much appreciate that. But I don't think I wrote any of those resolutions, so it's on all y'all.
No, we made the template to make it a lot easier.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Fair enough. We had a public event. We had a table at Earth Day this year, so that's great. We'll look forward to doing that again next year, and probably with some fancier signage. So that's another thing that I consider a success this year was figuring out a pathway to getting better signage. We hosted the first sustainability forum, drafted a local food resilience strategy that we continue to enhance, and we've already, some of these resolutions came out of that, so we've already checked off some of those boxes. We made progress on the first sustainability assessment report since 2017, so that's been a little while. It's shifted a little bit like we talked about, but still, it's been really good progress. Of course, the capstone project is really exciting. We're getting that ball rolling. And of course, the commission turned 20 years old this year. Either in May, actually maybe it was March, or October, depending on how you count. So the earlier month was when the ordinance went into effect, and then October was when the first meeting occurred. So, I also wanted to throw in a couple honorable mentions here, things that didn't quite get to the finish line, but were still a really good effort from everybody, and that I think were, solid ideas that we could see revived in the future at some point, hopefully. So the Cobb Bench project is one that was a really exciting, installation-based project. There's a lot of work that went into sort of planning that out. And then, of course, we didn't quite get there before the construction actually began, but I think we still learned a lot from going through that process, getting that grant proposal approved, and figuring out how to dig out some dirt and install a bench. So So those are all lessons that we can take with us into the next year. The Bokashi Festival pilot idea was a really solid one. Obviously, we don't have earth keepers anymore. The ability for people to compost without having a yard and the expertise for them to do it in, still remains a problem. So the Bokashi concept is still a really exciting idea. Matching it up with festivals is a really great idea. So hopefully there's ways we can still continue to promote some of these things going forward. And then the downtown pollinator garden, if you recall, a little bit earlier in the year, we had a presentation from somebody who was looking at working with a sort of a local landscaper to turn a little corner of downtown into a nice pollinator garden with a bench. So we hope to see more ideas like this in the future. So I just want to thank everybody here on the commission, and also a big thank you to the staff who provides a lot of essential support for us. And so Sean, Jolie, Jane, Audrey, Margie, Julius, these are all folks who have come, to speak to the commission this year. So a big thanks to everybody here. All right, and then that brings me to my my perennial resources slide here. So you can find this in the packet. There's links to stuff like the homepage I mentioned before. And that'll do it for the end of my report. So one final call for questions before we move on to the next agenda item. All right, and that brings us to our next item, which, let's see, we've got, okay, continuing with reports from commissioners, Waste Management Working Group. Matt?
Real quick this week, not much of a report, just the City CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee with the Waste Reduction District, is losing their chair, Joe Winia. He also chaired BCause. He's moving back to Michigan. Great guy, and a real loss for the city, unfortunately. But the CAC needs membership, so if you are interested in waste diversion issues, we would love to have you apply and join. That's it.
Should people reach out to you if they're interested? Or
Yes.
is there
Yeah, please reach out to me, or you can go to the Waste Reduction website, and they have an application on there.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks for the coaching.
Thank you. Okay, Council ex officio.
Well, a couple things. Justin, you mentioned that tomorrow night is a work session, well, actually a deliberation session after a work session. Work session starts at 5 to 6:30, and it will be with the RDC, which is the Redevelopment Commission. Among the activities of a redevelopment commission is to essentially overseeing properties that the city owns to redevelop. And the property in question that we'll be discussing tomorrow is the Bunger-Robertson site, which is just north of the existing convention center, and whether the RDC will donate it to the hotelier that the Capital Improvement Board, which has been doing the work on developing the expansion of the convention center, whether that donation will proceed. It's a $7 million property. The council opposes it. At least 8 of 9 of us oppose it. We had a letter to that effect in May of 2024 because we believe that the funding should be exclusively the food and beverage tax. That was the intention of it, of accumulating funds in that. And I have sympathy to the CIB. They have apparently $22 million or so differential in terms of their negotiation with the hotelier, Dora. But the property was bought with TIF funds. We should sell it to the hotelier or a hotelier of some kind or other. TIF funds should be used in other ways for infrastructure or to redevelop the city. And frankly, I'm concerned about the equitable distribution of TIF funds around the city and whether or not it's being concentrated, too localized in certain areas as opposed to in sacrificing other areas. So we wrote a letter on May 8th, I think, of 2024. 8 of 9 of us signed it to oppose this. And so we're going to talk to the RDC about whether they're going to go ahead with it. And then we go into a deliberation session, which Justin mentioned, which is the topic is outcome-based budgeting, which is essentially looking to specific measurable results, specifically in the various plans that you put up, policy documents, like the climate action plan, the comprehensive plan. And so we'll be discussing that, the outcomes in city plans and prioritizing outcomes. And that's at 6:30 tomorrow. You're welcome to attend either or both.
When is the redevelopment commission set to make a decision? Sorry, well, is it their final decision, or is it subject to council approval?
Interestingly enough, they can make decisions of $5 million or less. And this is brought to them in two parts of less than $5 million, so it will not come to the council.
Okay.
Just a coincidence.
Yes, it just happens to be that way. But yes, if it's $5 million or more, it goes to the council for our say.
So it's been parceled into two less than $5 million parcels totaling $7 million?
That's my
Effectively?
understanding.
Okay.
Yeah. And it will be decided at their next meeting, presumably. They were set to decide at their last meeting, and they postponed it to their next one. So.
What information might they need to help make a decision?
Well, I think that the convention center expansion's been pretty controversial. Does it serve the community at large? Does it, we have priorities as a city. We have a lot of issues regarding housing, homeless people. We have obviously transportation issues. We have other infrastructure to worry about. And the fear has been all along that the convention center expansion could take on a life of its own and become a sink instead of something that would be, So from my point of view, I've wanted a more modest-sized convention center, one that is appropriate for the community. We definitely lose during off-season times, events and things like that would help downtown businesses. So I supported it, but I think that it's the prioritization of whether the RDC should surrender a property for a hotelier to seal this deal, as opposed to that property getting some fair market value for the city. I think that's the crux of the matter. And so if you have an opinion of that, and it really goes to the prioritization of what the city should be funding, ultimately. Yeah.
Is there any precedent for doing something in this vein that could become like an income stream to support one of these similar goals, or that the funding would typically be for?
Well, the income stream was meant to be the food and beverage tax. So there's another tax that supports, remember, it's a hotel tax. It actually applies to Airbnbs too. I can't remember the name of it now. Innkeeper's tax that basically supports the maintenance of the existing convention center and then the expansion. But this requires a lot of capital investment to build this new structure. And we had multiple hearings on this, and a lot of downtown merchants and bars and restaurants came forward and said, we're willing to assume a 1% tax to build up funds for this purpose, because the seasonal fluctuations in activity and income is very severe for them. Summer months are pretty, and especially for their employees too. So I feel for service employees, a lot of them get laid off during summer months because there just isn't enough income coming in. And so this would sort of bridge the gap. So it kind of made sense to do that. But the food and beverage tax was explicitly the fund for that. So that's the money that's coming in on a continual basis to do this and building up an account for that. Yeah.
Has the city ever given away an amount of approximately $7 million as an incentive previously
Good question.
To a private business.
to a private business? And then what would be, since it's not locally owned, we're not going to have that local circular economy here, and the jobs will not be high-paying jobs. So I kind of have a problem with that.
Sean, do you know of any history? I'm sure there have been. I mean, one a long time ago, was that the city was left responsible for the destruction, or the rehabilitation of the Thompson site, which should have been basically internalized to the company, and we assumed that. And so, yeah, those externalizations of costs are problematic to me, because, you know, we're actually facing a time now, because of the state government, of pretty lean years coming forward. So facing austerity, I think that we need to be very judicious about where we spend money, and I don't favor this. That's a really good question. I should look into the history of that. It's
Because
probably
if,
occurred.
if we're setting a precedent as a city
Sure.
to do this, then that may be an expectation of other businesses, and not just giving different types of, write-offs like green roofs or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And this is to a hotel too. It's not like it's
It-
to, which has a benefit of some to the community, but it's not like it's to like a food bank or to a.
Or even a locally
It's a-
owned business.
yeah, it's a for-profit,
It's just a
Right.
company
large
that
company, yeah.
is not housed in
That's what it
Bloomington.
seems.
So during
Those are-
2008, we had this economic crisis. I think I've been anticipating something like this from what I've been seeing, and I think during that time period, Bloomington was quite resilient in comparison to other local, other communities nearby. And I also traveled to Europe and saw how in rural England, anything outside of London was really kind of hollowed out, except for Totnes, which had the Totnes pound, and as a local currency they created. And that was the only vibrant location that I saw outside of London. Paris was fine, but you saw the other areas that were rural were being hollowed out. And my friend I was staying with said, well, France is up for sale, and it was being sold to other people from other countries. So having that as background information, I wonder what kind of precedent this is setting. How are we going to reinforce our own local economy, especially if we're going to lose SNAP benefits, that we get federal dollars in different ways that support the local economy. So I'm thinking about it possibly in a slightly different way than others have conceived.
Is it beneficial to council for there to be people present, like members of the public present at the, because the deliberation session doesn't have like a public comment period or anything, right? Or
Well, the deliberation session will,
the working
this working group,
sorry, the working session.
I'm not sure about that. That's a good question. Well, just people in attendance would be all good, just,
There's a communication impact of just seeing that people are paying attention
Yeah.
to what the city is
For
doing
sure.
in this
Yeah,
regard.
exactly, but making eye contact. And
Frowning.
Giving the stink eye to, whatever,
Like
or
very
thumbs up or
body language.
yeah, jazz hands. But if it's a good outcome. And the other thing I'd mention is that I think this puts, it elevates one hotel versus others. So it gives an unfair competitive advantage, I think, to one hotelier as opposed to the ones that are already operating downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know what their finances look like, but I'm sure it's seasonal and I'm sure they struggle at times. And why would we elevate this one that's just coming in as opposed to the ones that are already established here? So that's at least my opinion. I'm giving my opinion here. So.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm taking too much time.
Oh,
Sorry.
good. No, that was a good discussion. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, so that brings us to discussions of topics not the subject of resolutions. So the Climate Action Plan implementation update from Sean. And let's see. Oh, you've got it all. Sure. Great. Yeah.
Thank you. This update is everything that we've done since our previous City Council presentation in July of 2024. Thank you, Jolie. So I'll just go through all the slides, and if you have questions, I'll answer them at the end. Okay, so here's our Climate Action Plan. It's on our website. You can take a look at it. We don't have a whole lot of time, so I'll just kind of breeze through these. The first section is renewable energy. We have specific goals for renewable energy. Our total production from our sites is 22.7 gigawatts. There is a website here that you can see. This was from our vendor who installed all of our sites back in 2017 and 2018, ESG. This kiosk doesn't have all of our sites, but the majority of them, because we've installed additional sites since then.
Is it total energy production since they were installed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And
On city property? Or
yes,
yeah.
all of our municipal sites. Yeah. And so we've been working with Verigy for the past 3 years. They're our solar O&M vendor. They monitor production on an online dashboard called PowerTrack. They submit quotes to me to replace any broken panels, inverters, optimizers, and fix any wiring issues that may come up. So they're monitoring those, making sure that they're producing every day. One of our largest grant programs is our Solar Energy Efficiency and Lighting Program, our SEAL program. We provide grants to small businesses and nonprofits. We provide up to $25,000 for solar systems, and we provide $20,000 for battery energy storage systems, and that is only for nonprofits that provide essential services. We issued an RFP this year, and we contracted with Solar Energy Solutions for our installations. Since August of 2024, we have completed 11 solar installations at these locations. You have these slides so you can read through these. We approved an additional 6 installations that will be completed in early 2026. This includes Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. They're going to be receiving our first battery energy storage system. We feel like this is a really important project for our community because they do provide essential services. If they have a power outage, the food in their freezers and refrigerators will still be able to be viable. Low-income housing solar grants. We've been supporting solar installations at Bloomington Housing Authority for several years. In 2024, they were able to install solar in 6 buildings at Crestmont. In 2025, we have a draft grant agreement where they will be installing additional solar on their new early learning center and additional buildings at Crestmont. So these will be completed in early 2026. So the next section is energy efficiency, and so we have goals to increase energy efficiency in the built environment. We've been working with Donovan Energy for the past 1.5 years. In 2025, they completed an energy assessment report where they looked at 32 municipal buildings. They determined the energy utilization index, energy use index for each of those buildings across our municipal portfolio. That allowed us to see which buildings are the most energy inefficient and to target for energy conservation measures. And so because of that initial report, we worked with Parks and Rec and Public Works to identify 9 buildings to move forward with level 2 ASHRAE energy audits, and those were completed at those 9 buildings. And so because of those reports, we have completed all the ones with the green check marks. Those are the projects that we've completed so far. The additional projects, we will be continuing to work with departments to get those projects implemented. And so this year we've completed LED upgrades at Allison Jukebox and Switchyard Park Maintenance Building, and we hired Cassidy Electric to complete upgrades at these 5 additional buildings, and those will be completed soon. The U.S. Department of Energy's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, called EECBG. We submitted a project with Donovan Energy's help to identify the City Hall LED lighting project for that voucher, and we were selected for a $141,000 rebate. I've worked with our controller's office, and we have submitted for that reimbursement, so we're waiting to hear back on that. And then Donovan Energy also has submitted a rebate application to Duke Energy. We'll be getting back $33,000 for that project as well. And so it's estimated that the city is going to be saving 67% on annual lighting costs because of that project. To give an update on our Indiana Office of Energy Development, Empowering Energy Partnerships in Indiana Communities, EPIC grant, we have been selected for a $508,000 grant. It required a minimum 20% match. We've added a little bit more to that project in order to make it feasible. We'll be upgrading the HVAC system, installing a solar system, and a battery energy storage system. We have completed our DNR Historic Preservation Department approval process, and we completed structural engineering verification of the roof as required by the Bloomington Fire Department. So we're in our schematic design phase right now. We also, because this is federal funding that's coming down from the Department of, I know this is from EPA, we have to make sure that we're in compliance with Buy America, Build America, so BABA compliance, and so it's very difficult to find manufacturers that are compliant, and so we will most likely have to submit a waiver to EPA for approval, and that will take some time. So we are hoping that the project will be completed by the end of October next year. So another part of our solar energy efficiency and lighting program is the energy efficiency and lighting. We provide $10,000 grants to nonprofits and small businesses. They can receive a free energy audit and a grant for these types of energy projects. In 2025, we added cool roofs, which is, it has to be certified cool roof materials by the Cool Roof Rating Council. It, whenever you install a cool roof, it lowers your air conditioning costs because it reflects more sunlight, and so it doesn't absorb as much energy. And so this year our first project was at Wonderlab. So IFF is our project partner, and since 2024, August of 2024, we've completed 8 energy audits and 8 upgrades at these locations. We have approved 3 additional projects to be completed at these 3 locations in early 2026. So to date, we have provided over $1 million in SEAL grants. ITS helped us create a SEAL grants map. There's a link there. You can see it. It's on our City of Bloomington GeoHub website. You can see where all of the projects have been implemented. Our Bloomington Green Home Improvement Program. This program's been around for a while. We completely revised it this year because previously you were required to take out a loan with a specific bank for a solar installation only, and you would only get a $1,000 rebate, and so that program really wasn't as effective, and so we revised this program. We no longer require a loan with a specific bank, and our rebates cover 25% of the installation for the general population and up to 40% for low-income residents, up to maximum amounts depending on the project type. And so you can combine our rebate with utility rebates and federal tax credits while they're available. The equipment is required to be Energy Star certified or equivalent energy efficiency standard. And in 2025, we approved 35 rebates, and these are the projects. I really want to thank Jolie for all of her hard work in this program. She administers not only the SEAL program, but also the BG HIP program, and so very thankful for her hard work this year. And so like Justin said, we have launched our Bloomington Energy Works program. We were selected by the Coalition for Green Capital and ICLEI USA for a $250,000 grant. This is a market building grant. It's to promote energy efficiency and renewable energy across the city. Our goal is to bring low-cost capital to Bloomington for project implementation, and our program partner is the Indiana Energy Independence Fund. And so this is potential funding. We are competing with 48 other cities across the U.S. This is our chance to raise our hand and say that Bloomington is ready for investments. And so we are required to submit, actually this has been updated, we're required to submit a clean energy public-private partnership plan to the CGC and ICLEI actually by April 15th. They gave us another month because of the delay in getting our grant agreement signed. And so we're going to offer free energy audits for any commercial, manufacturing, nonprofit, building owner, academic institution, any type of large building owner. We're going to provide free energy audits to develop a list of energy efficiency and solar projects in need of funding worth a minimum of $50 million. And so instead of just onesie, twosie projects here and there, if we can combine all of our projects across our city, we're more likely to bring low-cost capital to Bloomington. And so, like I said, a part of this is also we've hired Electrify Indiana to develop a volunteer community engagement program. It's going to have a door-to-door campaign and group presentation, and their program is very ambitious. They're hoping to knock on 7,000 doors between now and May 1st. And so, and also, I can't remember the exact number of group presentations, but a high number of group presentations. So they're really needing a lot of help and looking for volunteers. If you go to bloomingtonenergyworks.com, you'll see all of the information, how to sign up to volunteer, how to apply for a free energy audit. And we're having our first webinar actually tomorrow at noon. So if you can help spread the word, help to get people there, we would really appreciate it. Okay, and the next section is climate resilience. And so really trying to make our city as resilient as possible to climate change in all the way that it impacts our city. It impacts our health, our safety, our infrastructure. And so there's goals in our climate action plan for that. And so what we're doing to increase resilience is we're planting trees. This year we've already planted trees in BHA Crestmont. Next year we'll be planting trees in BHA Walnut Woods neighborhood with the assistance of Canopy Bloomington. I've been working with Haskell Smith, who is the urban forester in Parks and Rec. We have developed a tree assistance program. ESD has provided $50,000 for this grant program, and it's to fund the removal of hazardous trees and limbs from low to moderate income homeowners. And after looking at the pictures that were submitted for these grants, there are so many people in our community who have trees that are just hanging right over their houses. So this program is really beneficial to those homeowners. And then bus stop shelter installations, ESD will be installing 6 bus stop shelters, hopefully by the end of January, depending on the weather. Those bus stops shelters have solar lights in them to increase safety, as well as some art to make them beautiful. Yeah.
Just a quick question about the tree assistance program. Have you guys designated who the company is that's going to be taking those down, or is that up to the homeowner?
No, Haskell issued an RFP,
Okay.
and I think the bids were due, or they're due December 19th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This one needs to be admitted.
Oh, thank you. And then Stay Cool Bloomington, ESD provided funding for this program again this year, and in 2025 we paid for over 15,000 free admissions to our city pools during extreme heat days. We also have our AC distribution program. We received 28 applications. We only approved 8 installations, and the reason for that is a lot of the applications were from people who live in apartment complexes. And so we worked with our Housing and Neighborhood Development Department to reach out to those apartment owners and have them fix the AC units themselves. And so that's been a successful program. Also, I want to say that I felt really bad for people who lived in unannexed areas in Bloomington. I was not able to provide funding for them because they're not paying city taxes and belong to the city. So I felt really bad turning them away, as well as people living in the county. I had a phone call from a gentleman who was a veteran who said his AC unit went out and he didn't have funding to fix it. So my heart really just went out to him, and there wasn't much that I could do. So Stay Cool Bloomington Cool Kits, we distributed over 400 this year. We created cool kits that have, it's a water bottle with sunscreen, electrolyte packet, and also a resource guide. And the resource guide is really informative about where our city pools are located, where our public drinking water fountains are located, hours of operation, cooling centers that they can go to, which so far has been designated as the public libraries, and also what are signs and symptoms of a heat-related illness and how to treat it and how to get help in all the programs that we have.
But isn't there only one branch of the library in city limits?
Well, if someone lives by the library, I mean, it's anybody.
But
can
that's
go to
the only. But that's the only cooling center in the city is the library, the downtown branch.
So far, that's what's been designated. Yeah. I should say that the Buskirk-Chumley Theater, that is also being developed as a climate resilience hub. Whenever there's a power outage, because we have the battery energy storage system, the theater will be opened and we'll have free movie screenings. And that's especially important during extreme heat days. People can go there for free and watch movies, and extreme cold days. So it's turning into a climate resilience hub. We'll also have 4 climate talks once everything is completed, and I'll let you know about that. But that is serving as a resilience hub. And I wanted to give everybody an update on Project 46, our Southern Indiana Regional Climate Alliance. We have a new website. I highly encourage everyone to go to that. It's a climate alliance between the cities of Bloomington, Nashville, and Columbus. In July of 2025, the steering committee, which is made up of the 2 mayors and the town manager, they approved the bylaws and organizational structure. In September, they officially approved advisory committee memberships for Cummins Electron Chargers, Sierra Club Winding Waters Group, and IU Environmental Resilience Institute. And at the last meeting last week, they also approved Gnarly Tree Sustainability Institute as an advisory committee member. They also elected myself as the chair. I'll be serving as chair for the next 2 years, and Sandy Jones, the town manager of Nashville, is the vice chair. We're also really excited about a grant that we're applying for. We have partnered with Purdue and IU. We're applying for a Capital One Foundation grant. It's Scaling Pathways to Home Ownership. And our idea is to work towards building factory-built energy-efficient homes, and also looking at a permitting process for those factory-built homes and try to reduce the time for those and reduce costs. So it not only helps to reduce costs for homes, but also they're energy efficient and reduce our carbon footprint. So I'll keep you updated on that. So some food security grants. So we've been providing funding to Hoosier Hills Food Bank and Mother Hubbard's Cupboard to support their garden programs and to distribute locally grown food. Waste management grant. We've been working with Waste Reduction District of Monroe County for the since 2023 to support One Sustainable Joe, who is unfortunately leaving Bloomington. One Sustainable Joe created and managed really beautiful multifamily housing compost projects, and so we're really hoping that someone will pick up that project and continue. And then community engagement is our last section. We have our Zero in Bloomington online platform. It's where you can go and learn about all the different types of sustainability actions that you can take and that you can track your own actions. Since August of 2024, we've got 266 new users, and they have tracked 543 sustainable actions. Spring into sustainability. 10 groups competed to complete the most climate-friendly lifestyle choices and actions, and we announced the winners at our Earth Day celebration. And then our Sustainability Spooktacular mobilized 69 residents to volunteer for environmental causes or join an educational workshop. And so, again, I want to thank Jolie for all of her work on the Zero in Bloomington platform and everything, all of the sustainability challenges. And if you haven't already, check out our climate action plan dashboard. We try to update this at the beginning of every year, so we'll be updating this soon. It has our annual greenhouse gas inventory on it. It has climate actions and incentives. Okay, so thank you.
You mentioned the One Sustainable Joe, and you were hoping somebody would pick that up. What do you?
Yeah,
How would that be? I mean, I guess, how does that work?
I sent an email to Tom McLaughlin to find out if they were going to pick it up. I think Joe said there was some staff internally that was going to try to work on that.
Okay.
I haven't heard back yet.
Okay, thank you.
I just had a quick question on the, is it maybe Donovan Energy, or I'm not quite sure how it would be split up, but with them and the Energy Independence Fund, but is Donovan like an energy services company? Like do they do like the financing as well?
They do have someone in-house who that is his background. He came from a finance background, and so he is very tuned into how climate-related projects can be funded through green banks and different efforts and the projects that qualify.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Some of these companies they'll look at whatever energy you can save, and they'll actually cost that out, and they'll, you pay the same amount even though you saved a lot of energy, and that's how you pay back the project over time. It's like a long-term financing thing.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the webinar tomorrow. And I also wanted to think about, and I don't know what the liability potential would be for this, but on that Stay Cool Bloomington thing, one of the things is like people don't always know how to best take care of their air conditioning units. If we got people going around talking about this energy thing, there was a way to like help them like check on their air conditioning units and maybe keep them working longer. That might be something we could volunteer for.
Really good point. Yes. Yeah, maintenance.
We'll see.
Having to learn how to get the pollen off of my HVAC was like a big learning
Yes.
curve. Growing up in a window
Without ruining the
unit
fins.
part of the country.
Yeah. I have a quick question on that.
Yes,
46 corridor, you were talking about factory built homes. Is that just like a manufactured home?
I think they want to get away from selling it as a mobile home.
Yeah.
They want it to be more aesthetically
Yeah.
and, have energy efficient appliances and really energy efficient homes as much as possible. And so, the typical mobile home is not energy efficient at all. It's most of them, yeah.
But it's like still the modular factory, the ones that like where it's like a half a house on a semi, and then
Right,
there's like
yes.
another half behind it.
Exactly, yeah.
So are there going to be some smaller units? Because I was researching some of this afternoon.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. They have this up there, so I'm very excited about
Yeah.
it. And looking at some of these smaller type housing, for maybe even studio apartment size. It's more open concept that can be for 1 or 2 people,
Yeah.
or 1 bedroom that utilizes less lot space as well, which can either fit onto a smaller lot or could then allow for more growing of food. So just wondering a little
Yeah.
bit more about that. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to share more information.
Yeah,
The
great.
application is actually due next month, so we are working fast and furious on it. So Purdue was saying that they would like to develop a website where you can pick and choose what you want in your home, and it'll tell you exactly how much it will cost. So
Because
there's
I know
no-
this
it'll-
type of thing can reduce production costs and then can
Yes.
get those homes. But I've seen some of these other things like what Elon Musk has done that's very small, and these octagonal, some things can be raised up. Each one has different types of benefits as well. Some, if it's more round, I don't know if that's going to be a part of this, that can are more resilient in earthquake situations, having been through earthquakes, as well as, say, tornadoes, because the airflow can go around them. So I'm curious about that. So thank you both for all of this work. I'm like, are you getting any sleep?
I don't usually take a lunch break.
Wanted to know
Yeah.
with the dashboard that you showed at the end, if there's anything that myself or anyone else here can go into our own, our special knowledge to help with maybe pinpointing some things. I know I've done that in the past. That might help you as well with some of your time management. So, okay, volunteering
Oh, thank
myself.
you.
But if anyone else might want to, I think that would help you both out at the end of the year.
Oh, thank you. I
Very welcome,
appreciate
yes.
it. Thank you.
A few things. One, your 22.7 gigawatts, that should be gigawatt hours. If we
Sorry,
were
yes,
producing
thank you.
22.7 gigawatts, that would be an incredibly
Yes,
impressive
sorry.
amount.
Yes, thank you for
but I don't
that. Yeah.
The SEAL program,
Uh-huh.
for future iterations of that program, is there a reason that we don't do matching funds? Saying that we do, up to 50% of the project cost up to $25,000, because my understanding is that a lot of projects install $25,000 solar systems because you get $25,000 from the city for free, and then once you hit the point where you have to put money in, you go, okay, like,
Yeah.
don't want to do that. But if
Yeah.
you matched 50% up
Yeah,
to
that's a great-
$25,000, then they'd have an incentive to do a $50,000 solar system. Get that more private capital to participate.
Yeah, thank you for that. So there are some installations that the owner did decide to
Yeah.
expand the system, and we're really excited to see that. Not everyone has that funding, especially nonprofits. They don't have, additional funding to add to a project. Also, whenever we hire a vendor, we have to have in their contract what their maximum amount is. It's just easier. It's a turnkey program so that people can understand exactly what they're getting. And I do understand your point that it's nice when they have capital to add to the project, but that's not always available.
For
Okay.
the,
I mean, maybe like a private company, nonprofit, distinguishing, like, if you're a for-profit entity, you like dollar for dollar matching. I don't know, just things to think about for future implementation part. Like, I have bid to be the contractor for the SEAL program, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And then on the green home, the BG HIP, you mentioned you don't require a loan with a specific bank anymore, and I actually know somebody who got kind of tripped up over that and couldn't access these funds because they didn't know about it until like right after it got done. They're like, oh, can I get this rebate? And they couldn't because they went with that credit union because that's who they bank with. But do you still require a loan with a bank, or is there just no loan requirement at all?
All we want to see is the paid invoice.
Okay. Does it have to be contracted work then? If
Yes,
you
it
did a
does, yeah.
DIY heat pump install, that wouldn't qualify?
No, it
Okay.
has to be a contractor. Yeah.
the energy audits as part of the capital that are available, are they also available to institutions that are, so I'm thinking of like MCCSC or the Monroe County Public Library that have buildings within city limits but extend beyond the city, their full kind of service area extends beyond city limits, would they be eligible to participate in those energy audits for their buildings that are?
I think MCC has participated in the past with an energy audit. I'm pretty sure.
Or for Bloomington Energy Works, do you mean?
For
Or-
the one for next year with this green capital
Oh, the,
competition where they can.
Bloomington Energy Works. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you for that question. Any large building owner located within the city limits is eligible. If there is a manufacturing firm outside of the city limits, we can't offer them free technical assistance, but what we can do is if they have a project, they can add it to our plan.
On the BG HIP program, I'm wondering why, is there a reason why you went with a rebate rather than a grant? Because while you're also means testing it for low-income people, that plus having a rebate means that how many low-income people can actually afford to put upfront the cost? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah,
There's a reason.
you're exactly right. It does make it tough. There's
Yeah.
trade-offs with the way we've designed the program, and I think, at the end of the year, we're kind of evaluating things and seeing like, how can we improve that? So,
Okay.
I mean, you're getting at something that we've noticed.
Okay.
We are letting everyone know about the Indiana Energy Saver program
Okay.
that
Mhm.
has funding available now to help them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So.
I'm glad you guys are thinking about that. I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That program is one of the most difficult paperwork processes that I've ever navigated, and we lost out on it because it was like so arcane, the process. It was worse than enrolling my kid in MCCSC. It was like, I tried, it was really, really like there's nothing you can do about it, it's the state, but just like as a knowledge that it's really hard. It's really hard. I am somebody with a lot of resources of going through that, and it was
Well, I've asked
prohibitive.
Electrify Indiana to potentially, we're going to introduce them to Indiana Energy Saver program. The Aegis is the company that's managing that program, and Joey and I have met with them to come down to Bloomington. They have iPads, and we can set up a time for people to come in and apply. And walk them through the process.
It was more all the follow-up things that they were asking for, and like the timeline of it was just like, and it was like the form itself was like very confusing. It was also not mobile accessible. Like you can open, like it'll open on a phone, but it's almost unreadable. So for folks that are, we're doing it on an iPad may not get over that hump if it's showing up as a mobile site on the iPads. It might be better if they can bring laptops or Chromebooks or something, because it was really hard. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, we have to like zoom in and like scroll over to find the checkbox kind of thing. Yeah, it was rough.
It's good to know.
I forgot something earlier, and I can't find it on here, but you mentioned that the city will be getting back 2 rebates. When the city gets a rebate on something like this, where do the funds go, and then how is it utilized
That's a good
after that
question.
point?
Yeah, all rebates and refunds, even our direct pay reimbursement, it goes back into the general fund.
So that's bringing back quite a lot of money. Congratulations.
Is there
Thank you.
concern that that DOE payout from the federal government will not come through, or just that it will be delayed?
We were able to submit everything. There was not, the website's still up, everything's there. We're getting emails occasionally from DOE about it, but I don't know exactly when we'll get our rebate, or I just know that we've submitted it and we're waiting to hear back.
Yeah, one quick thing to share. So because I research green finance, so do you consider any something like idea of regarding like issuing a green bond things? So because I know the city hall issue green bond in the past few years to support the building of the green building here in Bloomington. So there are so many like other ways to raise funds to support your project. For example, the first U.S. Green Stock Exchange Center will be open next year in New Jersey. So there are so many like green municipal bonds were issued in the past 10 years or 20 years all over the states. So maybe you can also consider that channel to raise funds instead of applying for some grant and wait some of that. I think there are many other ways to raise green finance to support your project. Yeah.
Thank you. I think the ability to issue bonds has been limited by SB1, so.
At least for a few years.
At least for a few years, so.
Yeah, but it's a good idea to consider that.
For Indiana University, the bond, but that's to be approved by the board, so I don't know how easy that would be. But yeah.
Well, I just want to say it's an amazing amount of work. We would appreciate.
Mhm.
Can't believe that everything you both do.
Thank you.
It's pretty remarkable.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, it's very good. Yeah, thank you for the presentation, updating us on that. So we're getting close to the end. We have a hard stop at 7:30. The next thing that we have on the agenda is a presentation from Zach on counting miles, so methods for estimating transportation-related greenhouse gas emissions. If you haven't seen the slides yet, I recommend you go and look at them all because they are gorgeous, and there's a lot of really good data in there too. No, these are just really fun slides to look at, but there's a lot of good information in there as well. This is an area that you clearly have some expertise in. We don't have a lot more time today, I think, to really go through it all. And I know there was also interest in having the city's vendor that does the accounting for this sort of stuff. Is it Climate Nav? Is that what they're called? To come in and also be available to answer questions that the commission may have. So what I would suggest is maybe commissioners are encouraged to review these slides between now and January, and then we can try to have Wes, if he's available, come into our January meeting. We can go through these slides then and have a broader discussion about that.
Do we need a motion to move it to a future agenda, or because it's not subject of resolution?
I think we would maybe just need a motion to skip to the next item if that's what we decide to do. But I'll ask for people's thoughts on that.
I would like to have time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really cool. I want time to
That's
like learn.
No, I
Yeah.
completely understand. I just, when is the 2024 emissions inventory coming out, the report?
That's a very good question. We keep
Uh-huh.
asking Duke Energy for the data.
Okay. Yeah.
Asking
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Okay.
Well, once you have the data, then it's kind of plug and
Yeah.
play and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
really, we're just waiting for some additional clarification on our municipal emissions, and it's
Mhm.
ready to go.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with postponing if we need to go to next month. That's completely fine. I was not intending to do a presentation at my first meeting. I just kind of stumbled on this by accident. But so I'm fine doing, if we need to postpone for a month, that's fine.
I think it's worth
Yeah.
not cutting it off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
we
right,
wanna
yeah.
Totally
do it justice and also be able to get additional input. So yeah, but this is fantastic. Thank you for putting these slides together. Okay, so I guess in that case, I'll call for a motion to advance to the next agenda item, 7C.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any debate? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, the motion carries. We'll move on to 7C. I will go through this fairly quickly. I have a couple slides here just to get the ball rolling on the 2026 priority planning process. So last year we did this in a work group session where we just brainstormed some ideas in the library auditorium, and we had like a piece of paper that we scribbled a bunch of stuff on. So we want to go through a similar process, but first, just a quick look at what we came up with then as priorities for 2025. So we kind of came up.
Sharing.
Oh, my bad. Thank you. Okay, so we came up with sort of two broad priority areas. One was housing and urban agriculture, and the other was education, outreach, and coalition building. And I just went back and looked at some of our slides from back during this time, and there were a couple bullet points under each of those, which I've listed under the areas of focus there. And so I've just listed some of the outcomes that we did that were related to those areas of focus in 2025. So you can see we made some progress, on some of those. And in others, we could use some more progress. But I think it would be good to go through the process again. Maybe we decide we want to stick with these same priorities, or maybe we want to add something or adjust a little bit, but we should still at least go through that process. And so for 2026, I've just got some ideas here to get the wheels turning in terms of things that we might think about doing. These are just things that popped into my head. So I just listed out some potential areas, on the left-hand side there that we could focus on. I'm sure I've left plenty of stuff off. And then the indented bullets are sort of like brainstorming how we could get at that, right? So like, housing affordability. Maybe we want to engage more directly with the Office of the Mayor, since, they just put out the report recently, right? That sort of thing. I'm not going to go through all of these right now. It's just for you to take a look at and help get the wheels turning. On the right, I have tools at our disposal. I put kind of a version of this on a previous slide that I presented earlier this year, just to get people thinking about, okay, what can we do, as a commission, as an advisory commission, right? So we have resolutions. We can use those to declare a position or an opinion. We can also use those to make formal recommendations to parts of the city. We can ask for information if we think we need additional information to make decisions. We can author reports. We can search for funds and grants. And I had a couple more on there. Communication platforms, right? So if we wanted to become active on social media, we've talked about that a little bit earlier in the year. We can move forward with that. If we want to write an op-ed or something, or do a podcast interview, we could look into that. There's a really good local podcast called The 812. That's Steve Volan runs that. And then, of course, we've also got creativity, ingenuity, and passion, right? So that's a tool that's not to be underestimated. So this is just to get you thinking a little bit. So what will this process actually look like? Well, I think that is yet to be determined. Definitely interested in some feedback here. I came up with a couple of ways that we could approach this. One is like we did last year, work session. Just do a normal work session, and it's at the usual time. The challenge is there that the work sessions aren't always as well attended as the regular meetings, so we don't get as diverse a conversation as we might want for something like that. And an hour and a half is a pretty short amount of time to distill a lot of brainstorming and then converge on a concrete plan for the next year. So we could split that up into 2 work sessions, and that would give us a little more time and a break in between to sort of digest and consolidate ideas. But of course, that takes some time to actually go through that planning, so some additional time, which means we have less time to actually implement that plan once we have it. A new idea here that I had was we could do some sort of retreat where we find half a day, most of a day or something like that. It would probably have to be on a weekend when people aren't working and all that. To really do multiple sessions, get into the weeds on stuff, maybe break out into some breakout groups or something, and then come back. That's of course something that's a little harder to commit to because it's a lot of time dedicated all at once. People have families and all that sort of thing. But that option might allow us to really come up with a really kind of strong, well-formed plan that we can really hit the ground running with. Another option is just something completely else entirely that I haven't listed it here. So initial thoughts about how we should go about approaching that this year. Yeah.
You had the same thought I did. As I think doing something different as far as the work sessions, so we can really like push something through. I think I like your idea better. My thought was like maybe we only do work sessions during these certain crunch times, and we try to hammer it out in like a couple weeks. But I think something like a retreat would be good. I would vote for that for sure.
It would still need to be noticed and
That's right.
publicly accessible, so there is challenge in finding space where we can do that, because you can't book time at the library for that long. We can't do it in we can't ask city staff to be here for.
Right.
I would volunteer the e-house at IU if you wanted to use that.
Is that publicly accessible?
Yeah.
Is it open to the public?
Well, I mean, the door's open during business hours.
Okay.
Right.
So, yeah, that could be an option. We'd have to put the agenda notice on the door and all that, notice it properly, but yeah. Okay, good. That's an option.
I agree, it's a better, I mean, as one of the people with kids and a lot of commitments, with appropriate time, I can usually make it work.
Yeah.
Same.
I need more than 48 hours notice. I know that's the
Yeah.
legal minimum.
Oh, yeah, we would notice this week's in advance so people
Yeah.
can plan, yeah.
The other thought I was going to mention too, which is sort of thinking through the priorities that you lined it out. There's a lot of those I would kind of jump to, but I'm also thinking, like, what could we do maybe to, put wind in your sails, right, in the sustainability? Is there anything that we could tackle and really support in that vein as well?
I have a question. I like the retreat because I find that whenever I've worked with groups and retreats before in different ways, we make a lot of progress in a very short amount of time. But I'd also like to ask for ESD in regards to the food area, since food and gardening is kind of my thing. Do you have any plans for next year in the food system?
We'll
I
continue
don't
to
know.
support Hoosier Hills Food Bank and Mother Hubbard's
So
Covered.
basically grants to those
Grants to
two
those two.
organizations.
And we have the Sustainable Neighborhoods grants.
Right.
So it'd be great if BCOS could help if you want to, promote food security. There's $1,000 grants for a neighborhood to install garden beds.
I have questions about that, because
Yeah.
it's something I'm working on, so
Yeah.
I already talked to Jeremy
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Can't remember if I have
Is-
with you, but.
So I know since the commission is no longer approving those grants, is there a mechanism for because I know that there were people that looked into it and then opted not to do it, and I know from my own neighborhood doing it that part of it is just like the sort of daunting task of writing a grant with no experience. Is it possible for interested people to be referred to the commission for grant support, in some kind of formal, I don't know, what that relationship would look like, or what that
Yeah.
sharing
Absolutely.
communication, but I mean, we can
We would
help
really
people
appreciate
fill
that.
out the forms,
Yeah.
because it's hard, and I know that there was a lot of challenges for our neighborhood
Yeah,
in
'cause
getting
I'm
through
going-
the legal and stuff, yeah.
Looking through and going through one right now, and I know whenever I was on Jack Hopkins, there were a few things that were done for the public, so 2 different meetings. Of course, that's a very short grant process, and it's all very regimented. Is there a way that, I know that, do not want to add one more thing to your list, but a way to create a video so that if somebody's interested in the application, you can just do, kind of the asynchronous learning sort of thing of, here's the video, here's the application, and then email if you have any questions.
So I want to do a quick
Mine's
pause
not.
because we're 20 seconds
Oh,
away from
sorry.
the end. It is a good question. You should come back to it. You have a hard stop. Was there anything ESD, for the staff liaison report that you were
No,
hoping
that
for today?
happened.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out just a little survey. It'll have, these options. Pick which one you prefer, and then maybe some dates that might be potential options, and we can go from there. Okay, and we are at 7:30, so.
Can I make a quick correction?
Yes.
The work session tomorrow is the RDCs. The council's been invited to it.
Oh.
It's their discretion whether they take public comment, I think. So it's up to them. And it's in the Allison Conference Room at 5 p.m. So,
Perfect.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so since we're at the end of the time, we stand adjourned at 7:30. Thank you.